Hello everyone and welcome to my pre-recorded session for DrupalCon Global 2020, How to Use Structured Data. My name is Richard Nozick. I'm a Senior Digital Strategist and SEO Specialist at ImageX Media. ImageX Media is a digital agency that works in Drupal, and we work on developing digital experiences, websites, and apps. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to answer and talk more about SEO. Today's session is going to be about how to use structured data. So at a high level, I'm going to go over what is structured data, why you would want to use it, so what's the value of it, and then of course how to use it to get you started down that path of using structured data. So what is structured data? At a high level, to get your head around the concept, think of it this way. It's content about the content. So structured data is the content that you will use to speak to search engines, to speak to Google, to tell them more about what your content is about. It's going to help to make your organization more visible to people using search. Now, why should you use structured data? What's the value to you? Over the past couple of decades, Google's search engine results page has gone through tremendous evolution. You can see from the screenshot on this side here, in the beginning it was a very simple kind of an interface. It had a title and a description. And I'll just give you a link here. We'll take a look at what that was like. And this, of course, is not the same user interface as 2 decades ago, but this gives you an idea about the simple sort of structure of the search engine results page. Today, the search engine results page has evolved much more. It's now including more information and more content, and it's doing it in a variety of ways. One that might be very common to you or very recognizable to you is the local pack. So if you've ever been doing any kind of a local search on something, for example, I used YMCA swimming lessons, and at the very top of the search results page is what's known as the local pack. And so here it's given us some content about businesses that are close to me, that are local to me. Another area that we've seen evolution in, and you're going to be familiar with a lot of these, obviously, if you've used Google at all, is the people also ask. So when somebody uses a search query, they type something in, Google will also pull in relevant content in these cards in the form of people also ask. Then you're also going to see additional content that's come into the search engine results page, as well as videos. And even further on down here is also some image results. So basically, over the last couple of decades, Google has continued to evolve their search engine results page. Their goal and their mission is to make the search experience the most relevant, most useful, and most personalized experience that they can. Another area that is going to be important to think about and look at is the knowledge graph, which is this block of content up here. And then also the knowledge card, which is this information down here. So this is a great place to start to get visibility for your organization and for your brand. The basic answer to this question of why should you use structured data is so that you can increase the visibility of your brand or your organization whenever people are using Google search. Okay, so structured data really helps Google to understand your content, and it gives you more control even over your brand. This is a screenshot from Google Search, the developers portal, and it says, explicitly, I'll read it to you, I know you can read, but Google uses structured data to understand the content of the page, which can help your site display in richer features in search results. So that's the answer to that question about why should you use structured data. It's going to give you more visibility in search. And I just want to end this slide, and before I move on, with a caveat. For sure, structured data is important to SEO, but will it give you a boost in your rankings? No. So to summarize then, structured data is content about your content, and you should use it because it's going to help you increase your search visibility. So now let's jump right in. Let's get started with a quick little introduction, high-level overview of how to use structured data. Because this is DrupalCon Global, we're making, or I should say I'm making some assumptions. One is that you do use Drupal, that you know how to use Drupal, that you've probably used Drupal to at least even edit or add content. You're familiar with the back end of Drupal. You might be able to install modules, or you will have some kind of IT support to help you install modules, because in order to use structured data, you're going to have to use a Drupal module. And the Drupal module is called the Structured Data Module. And you can find it here at the Drupal.org site. Now, this is a fantastic module, and it is built off of the back of the Metatag module, which is a very well-established, well-supported module in Drupal. Now, the schema.org Metatag module has 20 plus data types that you can use. And so that's one of the things that I really liked about Drupal. I started using Drupal and working with Drupal just about 3.5 or 4 years ago. I've been in the industry of digital experiences or building websites for a couple of decades now. So really, I'm just new to Drupal. But one of the things that I really love about Drupal is that it's super, super search engine friendly. So when we're talking about things like on-page SEO, when we're talking about technical SEO, and just the way that it can help you to make your site search engine friendly, Drupal is excellent. So let's get started then. We're just going to take the first step here in using structured data. We're not going to do like a deep immersion. So as you can see, there are many applicable types of structured data that you might use. If you have a blog, you're going to want to use the article type for sure. If your organization runs local or yearly events or attends events or hosts events, you're going to want to use the event. If your website is one that has lots of rich content like images and videos, that's going to be another type that you'll want to use. But as a way to get started, if you're not already using structured data, the very best starting place is with the organization type. Every website should have the organization type implemented. You should implement it on only one page, so that's typically your home page. It could be an About Us or a corporate type of page, but you only want to implement it on one page. And so that's the next thing that I want to do with you is I want to walk you through what that looks like in the back end of Drupal, give you a little bit of an orientation to that. So we're going to go over to the back end. We're looking at the back end of ImageX's Media's development site, and you can see under here we've gone in and we've installed the module. So you're going to want to install the schema.org Metatag module, and then there's a sub module for the organization type. You're going to want to install that one as well. And you can see here that there are lots of other sub module types that you might want to take a look at. Now this is going to be applied to the front page. So then you're going to head over here to configuration, where we're going to go in and add some defaults for the meta tags. We're looking for, here's the front page. We'll go in and click edit, and it's going to open up. And in here, you're going to see the different meta tags that are available. We've got the basic tag, the advanced tag. There's a schema org tag. We're just in the process of adding this, but here's the schema organization. And it will just start at the top here. It's going to be the first things you do is pick your type. So for ImageX, we've gone with the corporation type. But if you open this up here and you take a look, there's quite a few different sort of like subtypes, if you will, local businesses and a whole bunch of local businesses. Just depending on what your organization is, you're going to want to try and find the one that is most specific to you. And you can see it here as I'm scrolling through this list. There's a great deal. Lots, public swimming pools, for example, and then a whole bunch of stores. So really, depending on what your business is, you're going to be able to probably find one in here that will be the most appropriate. And not to dive too deep, but even if there isn't one in here, you can create your own. But I'm not going to get into that in this session here. So you definitely will see the next thing that I wanted to draw attention to here is the required. So to get started, go through the schema.org organization configuration and make sure that you've got all of the required fields filled out. And some of these required fields, you're going to be able to implement tokens. Now that's one of the things that I really liked about Drupal when I first got into using it, is that you can tokenize some of the different data or information, and that allows you then to pull things in like this, for example, where we have the site URL. But then some of the stuff is going to be hard-coded. For example, you probably want to have some kind of a customized description. Again, we've got a token here. site name, which is required. Now here's a field that's called same as, and this is related to any of those pages or social profiles that you might have set up for your organization. And this is not necessarily going to be something you can tokenize, so you're just going to need to hard code that stuff in there for all of your social media profiles and just separate them by a comma. Telephone number is definitely another one that you want to make sure you've got in there, especially if that's one of the ways that your potential clients, customers, or users would reach out to you. And then scrolling through, there's lots of different types that are recommended. So really it depends on your organization, your business, what's most appropriate to you. One of the others that are required down here is the address. So you're going to put in a postal address for sure. What you're going to do is fill out as much of this information as is relevant to you. If you've got some development experience, you're going to be able to use tokens. If you've got a developer that you can leverage to help you, you might be able to pull some of that patternized information into this. You're going to click Save, and I've already configured this one out, so I won't bother with that part of the step. But the next thing, the next step after you've gone through and configured your meta tag, is you want to validate it, and you validate it using the structured data testing tool at Google. So this is the URL here, and you'll see at the end of this session there should be a link to some additional resources. We've got a page of content up on the MHX Media blog that'll give you links to additional information if you want to take a deeper dive into structured data. But back to the testing tool, you paste in your URL. I've already got the URL here for our test site, and you click on Run Test. It usually takes a second. If there are any errors or warnings, it's going to show up here, but this basically gives you a breakdown then of validation of all of the structured data that you've just put in there. So now you're successful at having implemented the organization type. So we'll just go back here. I just want to do a quick summary. Structured data, think of it as content about the content. It's the way that you talk to the search engines about your content. It's going to help you raise your organization or your brand's visibility in search. In order to use it, you're going to need to use the Drupal module, schema.org meta tag. And if you're just getting started, like I said, there's lots of different types that can be applied for articles, for events, for people as well, for products, even how-to. There's a lot. But get started at least with the organization schema markup. All right, thank you very much for your time. I hope this has given you a good introduction into structured data, why you'd want to use structured data, and how you can get using it with Drupal. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email or click on the link that's in the article with the more content, deeper dive into additional resources. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed DrupalCon Global 2020.